I'm not sure if yeah, I think it is. All right. Thank you so much, people, for for attending this session. Such a beautiful topic, isn't it? From celebrities to social media influencers. What's next? And with me, we have got Jahid, who happens to be leading the digital marketing as VP in HDFC Bank, as one of the most renowned and reputed digital marketeers in India. And they have got more than 150 awards to their credit in the last 1 year or so for various social media influencers-led campaigns, right? So I could not have found a better person than Jahid to have this discussion. And apart from being a digital marketeer, he's also a style icon, a youth style icon, I would say. I'm sure you can make a guess looking at him. So I actually wanted to ask Jahid, what is the secret behind your fashion sense? Where do you get it from? Just starting on a lighter note, yeah? I think this is working. You just have to keep it.
Hello? Hi, I think we are the only ones standing between lunch and them. Okay, so we will not get into Santur types questions, right? Let's get it straight into the zing.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, Jahid. I really like your
But I
candid.
think on a lighter note, since we have to, when we work at the bank and when we have to live up to founders like Ankit, which is what, like 22, 24 years, IITians, and they're doing some fantastic job in the fintech world, we have to maintain a certain aura, otherwise it will look like the youngsters are meeting their grandparents, and they will think that we don't match up to their thought process. So hence, mind-wise as well as attire-wise, we'll have to match up to them. A red will go with the yellow, and that's the thought process. Yeah.
So before we discover what's next, I think we need to first look at what was wrong. What was wrong with celebrities? What was wrong with social media influencers? We have seen a significant shift in marketing budget for large brands, moving away from old school celebrity endorsements to now new age social media influencer based campaigns. It could be due to the fact that now today's consumer is no more being swayed, especially the millennials are no more being swayed by the celebrities, right? Or for that matter, social media influencers are lesser risky and more affordable, or they can drive engagement. But what is wrong with social media influencers? Why do we even need to think about what's next?
Right. So I think let's take it this way. There's nothing wrong or right. Okay. Let's put it this way that the whole world started with celebrities, right? Now today, if I go for a celebrity, yes, they lend a credibility to you. Okay. But today with the celebrity, we have all the other, shenanigans coming along with it. I don't know who will be trolled when, who has done wrong in what past, and when the trolls get started, right? Then we don't know the expense of a celebrity is at a different gigantium sphere, right? The bigger part of it is why did influencer come into the picture? Influencer marketing. The biggest difference was key opinion leader. They were called as KOLs, right? Because they had an opinion as to what they're doing. A traveler is an expert traveler. So when he or she is endorsing a travel spot, people loved it because I follow him or her because of his or her passion, right? A guy who is a dancer, okay, somebody who's dancing is an expert dancer. So they are all key opinion leaders who are expert in their own fields, and when they are talking about their particular subject, which their expertise in, the followers loved it and they kind of followed it. Okay. Now look at, let's say a Virat Kohli endorsing a steel pipe. Okay. Doesn't make any sense, and doesn't make any sense in today's world, where there are so many mediums to kind of explore the advantages of a steel pipe or an iron rod. Okay. Now this is where we started following influencers, because a guy who is a civil engineer and has his own blog, I love to follow him and understand how to make a proper, what are the things that I need to make for a house maybe. Okay. Now what's going wrong with influencers is, when we have done some phenomenal campaigns. In fact, we won almost 50 plus awards whole of last year in some of the influencer-led campaigns that we have done. And recently we have launched our own influencer called Vigilante. I don't know, it's to help people avoid financial fraud. Okay. But what's going wrong is, today influencers have also gone into a way which is like almost nearing to the level of a celebrity. Okay. So what's happening is, with the ASI guidelines, we don't know the influencer's strata. Okay, who is following the influencer? Is it my TG at all? There is a complete black box to it, right? Second of all, today the influencer is wearing a blue and doing it for HDFC. Tomorrow I might see the influencer is wearing a yellow and doing it for my competition brand, or a red, or an orange. And so today, because at least with celebrities we had an exclusivity clause. Today with influencers, I don't think we can demand an exclusivity clause because they're pretty much open to all. Or we have to pay a huge amount to kind of get into that zone, right? So there is no exclusivity. The third is, like, let's say if a travel blogger is talking about finance, where is that credibility for which the influencer was supposed to be known for, right? So if you see broadly the parameters that's giving a concern, where is my product visible? Absolutely yes. But is the lineage with which influencer marketing had started, is that staying true to it? No, that's getting diluted. Okay, and hence, I think when you spoke about the topic, that what's next, I think that's an imperative thought that we might start thinking as to what's next.
Sure, I totally get it, Shahid, when you talk about irrelevant celebrities endorsing a different category of brand. But what if, even if the celebrity is relevant, let's say a travel blogger talking about Make My Trip, that sounds relevant, but is it? Think about it, right? Make My Trip is supposed to be driving probably flight reservations or hotel reservations, while that celebrity might, or that influencer might be having a larger fan base of people coming from tier 2, tier 3, or lower of the pyramid sort of demography, right? So that creates all the difference, because now within a influencer environment, there is no way you can target, there's no way you can segment their fan base and say that I want to only show my creative or messaging to this particular segment, right? So I think that is another point that I would like to add, which is going wrong in the influencer marketing segment, right? Coming to the next one, if let's assume that if there are some problems, and sometimes it works for certain brands, sometimes it might not work. But then, if not influencers, that who else? Who else can we look at as the ambassadors of my brand to talk about my messaging to the relevant audience?
See, if you go back, not too much into the history, but near around only. Okay, how did Patanjali form into a brand? Okay, did they come with product at the first? No. Okay, so they formed into a community where each of them believed into their master, right? Later on, products were introduced. Look into the LIC model. Okay, I think when we were growing up, why did LIC had such a huge commanding presence in the entire country? That is because there was an LIC agent in every community, in every village, gully, wherever you call about. Okay, the MLM models that we can talk about. Okay, so if you see, what's relevant over here is how they have focused on individual advocates in each of these places, where they have empowered, enabled these guys to talk about it, to be a credible source, and where one person can at least influence a basic max. We don't need a huge geography to be influenced by that person, but a basic community who can get influenced by this person is good enough for that. And then there's a network that can be grown. So one individual influencer leading to a community of multiple individual influencers, which forms a strong, robust community that allows a very good platform for an organic growth to happen for any brand or product. I think that's the way to look at it, how it can be done.
So are you saying that from celebrities which has tens of millions of followers to influencer which has probably less than 1 million followers, now look at individuals who probably have 100, 500, 1,000 followers, or friends and family members, or a small network within their locality whom they can influence, right?
Yeah, see, because when celebrity does a post, they get 1 million view. They talk about HDFC Bank, they'll get 5,000 views. Yeah. So is he really helping us? Might not be. Yeah, okay, so might as well create your own advocates. And maybe I'll not even call as an influencer, but create your own advocates who can talk about you. Now, why will somebody else, my neighbor, follow him? Right? Because I have to make him a credible source. So empower him. Make him that advocate who can then evangelize your product or your brand.
In fact, Jahid, I remember we at Bobble did some campaign with HDFC recently, wherein we enabled your relationship managers, which I guess I can qualify it as some sort of internal community for HDFC who are already advocates, but there was a need to enable them, empower them to talk about their products and services in a more impactful manner to the end clients. Could you share your experience with
Yeah,
that campaign?
yeah. I think we realized at one point of time that we have, let's say, approximately, give and take, 50, 60,000 relationship managers with us. Many of us, many of you guys will be a part of HDFC Bank customers. You might have got called by relationship managers, right? But if I ask, how many guys have you seen their face? Or do you guys know them? I don't think any one of us knows our RM personally, for that matter. You cannot be an advocate till the time you are known personally, right? Historically, we have always asked our friends, where should we invest? Tune kiya hai kya? Even if buying a car, you always talk to your friends and families, right? That's because you know that that person has invested, has got good returns, or that person has bought a car and is very happy with it. So that testimony of that success story is very important, right? Now, relationship managers today are basically, we treat them as only sales guys. Have we ever thought of the process that how can we empower them that they become our key advocate? Otherwise, the relationship is very transactional. You getting a salary, you are supposed to do XYZ business, and that's where the full stop comes in. Okay. Hence, one of our key goal was how can we empower them as key advocates about the brand? And the brand advocates were, the empowerment was, first of all, I am an RM. Do my customers know me? Then they might know my name. Truecaller gives a name today, that's how they may know. Nobody even saves a name nowadays. Okay. So we empowered them with Bobble, obviously. Very fun caricature faces of the RM. Okay. Second is finance is boring. So how can there be fun, intrusive, knowledge sharing stuff, even if it is financial fraud, even if it is about a product, which can be made on the fly, along with the faces of my relationship managers being sent to customers. So now when this is happening, just assume that all other banks are sending, please take personal loan, this is the reduced EMI, this is the reduced rate of interest. We start sharing thoughts, which is more thought-provoking, which is more helpful to him, which will be helping him from his fraud point of view, helping him from his transactions point of view, with a customized face, which is his face or her face, but in a fun way. That helped to grow more engagement with my customers and my RM, and RM also got more confident. And there is a process that we're involving in to make them more empowered with more knowledge and more series-based communication, which makes him an advocate.
Great. In fact, I can totally relate with it. I get tens and 20, at least RM messages every day, and these are so monotonous. Right? These are same hi, hello, and same trying to pitch something, some products, services to me. It just becomes boring. Yes, I think if something a fun communication, if it comes from RM, it definitely stands out and catches attention. Yeah. So, but I'm wondering, as a brand, I might not have that sort of leverage of such a large 70,000 plus RMs sitting on my payroll and doing my job, and I can use them to also become brand advocates, empower them, right? So there are many brands which doesn't have that liberty. How do they think about solving this problem? How do they think about creating advocates for themselves?
So, okay, I don't know. Let's take the example of Fitter. Okay, if you see Fitter, there is an example of fitness called Cult, and there is a community-based example called Fitter. Okay, Fitter, I don't think they have spent a single amount in advertisement, and they are one of the fastest growing fitness community globally. Okay, same you can talk about. Let's say I love what Mom's Presso is doing. Okay, the way they are building a community, tomorrow they will be starting introducing some. If they start introducing products for kids, okay, they're sorted. Okay, so if you see Fitter for an example, the way they have grown as a community first, okay, sales later. Because today in Fitter, the guys who are, let's say, from fat to slim, to the entire slim factor, they are talking about their stories. And when they are talking about their stories, people are asking them how it has happened. And then they're sharing that, okay, this is the trainer who has done it for me. And this is the regime which has worked for me. Okay, regime you might not follow, but the trainer is being followed. And the trainer is then getting more business out of it. Okay, so I think it's a great way. I love Fitter's business model, the way they are following and how they are shaping into it. That's looking great.
So I think what you're saying is convert your
existing customers probably into advocates and brand ambassadors? Because I'm sure no matter brands have a relationship manager or a community or not, but they definitely have customers, right? So existing
Exactly.
customers can be leveraged to
So,
become the brand
so if you see
advocates.
the IDA model, I think the previous panel was talking about it. Now it's AIDA. What we request is add one more A to it. So awareness, interest, desire, action is there. But the last part of it, which people are missing big time, is advocacy. Okay. So now advocate gives you earned customers, which brings you much more return of investment than whatever you have paid in the top funnel. Okay. What we do is focus on action and then move straight to upsell and cross-sell of products. We miss on building advocates on our own communities, on our own customer bases. Okay. And these communities and these customers should not be incentivized. Because whenever they go into the incentivized zone, then it again becomes a paid action. Okay, which obviously your followers will eventually transparent enough to see it. So the way it has to be looked is, at the moment of truth, when your customer is the happiest, let's say you have solved a pain point, or let's say you have given a product which he is very happy with, or you have given a deal which he is very happy with. Okay, at the moment of truth, how can I use his or her help to make him as an advocate for us? By joining her somewhere, by taking her expertise, by taking her testimonial, and allowing her to showcase her success story to my followers. Not only over there, if people are asking questions, can he or she be available to answer them and guide them? So when we talk, brands are talking as advertisement. But when somebody, an advocate is talking on behalf of me, who is a customer of HDFC Bank, okay, that is the moment of success for me, and that's how community will build.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great takeaway for all of us that, from celebrities to social media influencers, and now I think I am getting towards the answer which you just mentioned, advocates or or micro ambassadors, howsoever you want to call it. But these are the people who could be your customers, your relationship managers, your community, whosoever who can actually advocate for your brand. But you know, Hamisha, I have been always taught, don't do things which cannot be measured, right? So how do you, so let's say if we go by that logic and start creating advocates, how do we measure this phenomena? How do we measure the success of our efforts?
There are multiple ways, old and new. Okay, one is NPS. NPS has been a strong point of measurability as to is favorability increasing for my brand or not. Okay, so once and in recently after doing some of these implementations, NPS has grown at least 1.5 times for us. Okay, then becomes our, there is something called brand love that we have started mentioning or rather measuring. Okay, so with Kantars of the world coming in and some few tech startups have coming in, we actually measure people who are getting exposed to this kind of communication. What is their favorability for the brand, okay, as compared to guys who are not exposed to. It's not BLS, but a part of BLS, but measuring brand love. Okay. Third is, which I see evolving and coming out very strong, is do you want to give a code to one of my earned customers and say, if you can influence for your next deal, you might get a discount. But this is again going into the incentivized zone, which we are not very favorable for. But if I have to grow, like we all know the concept of DSA, right? There are individual people who are doing multiple businesses. Can I grow individual DSAs? Why only companies should form a DSA? That's again a thought process which can be an enhancement of a community, but that's incentivized. That's where again money is coming into. Technicality, a community with its organic source should be zero involved in money, but completely based out of passion, credibility, empowerment, and evangelization of the conversational point.
In fact, I totally agree with you. In fact, personally, I never find incentivization as a way to go. While it might come as a no-brainer for many of the marketeers that it's a no-brainer, just incentivize and get the work done. But I feel whatever comes out genuinely from people's heart, people's soul, is something which is unmatchable and it cannot be matched by getting something done by incentivizing the person. So I totally buy your point. In the interest of time, and we don't want to keep people waiting from their lunch. So is there any conclusive note that you would want to, or key takeaways that you want to leave the audience with?
So I think celebrities, influencers, all shaping up good. But if you want to be a strong brand, okay, where the dependency on money, because this is all money, right? We continuously have to invest money to get a celebrity to an influencer. If you have to grow into a strong, solid brand where the dependency on money is cut across, okay, you start focusing on individual influencers, individual advocates, which can help into you to make into a strong community. If you have a community of organically grown and breeded influencers, okay, that's a no-brainer for you, and that will help you to grow very strong in your communication.
Thank you so much, Jahid, for taking out your time. Now I know how great brands are built, and undoubtedly your thought process is something I think we got a lot to learn from. Thank you so
I
much.
hope it's beneficial. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ankit. Thank you very much, Jahid. I'm going to request you to come together for a quick photograph as well. And I must say, a fashionably insightful session there. So it's wonderful indeed to gather your insights. And for our members of the audience who have also stayed back for the sessions, thank you so much.